daylight savings is over on the weekend. It's time to stop going backward. This is from Virginia Fallon. It's stuff. I think she writes for the Dominion out of Wellington, setting the scene for why daylight savings should disappear. It has happened in parts of America. They're taking it away. It's a really interesting and well written and funny article actually talking about young children are wanting dinners at the wrong time and cats are doing crazy things and cows are being milked at different times. But there's one part of it which is fascinating to me. Let me read this bit out to you. So this is about the clocks moving around. One study found that on the Monday following daylight savings, when the clocks move forward, losing an hour of your sleep, incidence of heart attacks increased by 24%, while another picked up a 10% increase. A 2020 University of Auckland study found that the start of daylight savings time brings significantly higher number of road accidents, especially in the first 2 days. Sunday by 16%, Monday by 12%. For each of the 4 subsequent weekdays, the rate increases by 6%. And while the health risks are highest in the days following the changeover, another expert has said some of us will spend months feeling out of sorts right up until the clocks change again. I don't know if I've ever said it to you, Jeremy. I might have, but I've long been a proponent of changing the clocks in New Zealand. And one of the main reasons, look at this beautiful country of ours, is actually the difference between over here, Gisborne, over on the coast there, and on the west coast of the South Island. If you think about how far west that is, it's actually massive. It's actually easily a time zone could be different. And if you have a look at actually, and when I say this to people who haven't noticed it before, they're quite surprised. You have a look at the westernmost point of the North Island, right top of the North Island. That basically, if that cuts through, that's basically Nelson to Christchurch. Everywhere west of the line from Nelson to Christchurch in the South Island is west of the whole of the North Island.
Yep.
And rather than daylight savings for me personally, I've long been a proponent of the idea of maybe, just maybe, the South Island having a different time zone to the North Island, maybe just by half an hour. And that might actually solve this quote unquote problem, this issue more.
I'm with you. I agree. I mean, and look at Australia. They do that. I mean, Queensland doesn't do daylight saving. Adelaide has a half-hour time difference from Victoria. I think it's South Australia, I should say, Adelaide. I'm just talking about the cities. I completely agree with you. I don't see. I mean, I remember. I mean, I live in Auckland, but I grew up in Dunedin. And I do remember those Dunedin days where going to school when it's dark, coming home when it's dark. There you go. There's the numbers in front of you there. In Auckland, I hate daylight saving. It throws me out of whack for a couple of days, but no more than it does when I travel internationally, and you have to adjust to a different time zone. I mean, maybe one island does daylight saving and the other doesn't. Maybe there's a division line somewhere around the Murchisons. I don't know.
So have a look at this. The graphic that I brought up. I did this morning. So this is ignore the brackets. This is the current sunrise sunsets, and I've used the extremes for the sake of the conversation. So in Auckland, in summer, the earliest the sun comes up is 5:54 a.m. In Auckland, in summer, the latest the sun sets is 8:43. Right. Same for winter. Earliest is 7:33. Latest the sunset, the latest is 5:10. In Dunedin, the earliest summer sunrise is 5:41. So it's quite similar, 5:41. Yep. But the sunset latest is 9:31. It's like 45 minutes after. Yep. Right. Winter sunrise. This is the difference here. It's nearly an hour, the winter sunrise after the Auckland sunrise in Dunedin. And actually, if you went across to the west coast, it would be different again. I'm on the east coast of the South Island, remember? The winter sunset, 5:10 in Auckland, and similar. So if we did what some people, I'm going to say it straight, I think there's a North Island bias here from people who are making these commentaries and commentators. If we did what they're suggesting, which is to stay on the summer time, right? That's what the brackets are. The brackets are, if we stayed on summertime, then the winter sunrise in Auckland would be 8:30 in the morning. The winter sunset would be at 6:10. However, the winter sunrise in Dunedin would be at 9:20 in the morning, and the winter sunset would be at 6. I mean, it'd be nice to have the 6 o'clock. So this is where I'm saying, if this was half an hour back the other way, it would be more like 8:50 and 5:30. That feels more manageable. But at the moment, I mean, I'm not so much at the moment for me because my kids are kind of busing and riding to school, but certainly when they were walking to school, you do have children walking to school in Dunedin. It'll be more so in Invercargill and over in Te Anau, and that's going to be even more so again in the dark.
Yeah,
because of how this works. And I think you could almost just have a South Island time that was half an hour different from the North Island time permanently
yeah.
because of how much further west we are than actually what the North Island is. And to think about the South Island standard time and the North Island standard time. So I just want to throw it out there for all these people saying we should get rid of it, that if you get rid of it on what most people are saying by staying on daylight savings, that says that at 9:20 in the morning the sun will rise in Dunedin. Now, just north of me, there is a pretty high hill. I wouldn't call it a mountain, but it's a hill. Probably means that I wouldn't see the sun from my house until maybe 10 or 10:30 on that day, because yeah, it rises, but there's a big fucking hill in the way between the horizon and my house. So that just needs to be thought about, if nothing else. And this part of the world is pretty hilly, and there are lots of places that stay in the dark for quite a long time already, without adding an hour to our winter days as well.
Well,
Just putting it out there.
I hope you weren't putting it out there expecting me to disagree, because I actually completely agree with you. I think a half-hour difference would work. And you know what? Actually, looking at those times, if I don't know if you want to pull that graphic back up again, if you can, George. If you wouldn't even need to change the daylight saving if you had that half-hour difference all year round.
Yeah.
I mean, that would mean your sunrise was half an hour earlier, but your sunset would still be at 9 o'clock at night. It'd still be later than Auckland.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have that half-hour difference, which, like I say, is what South Australia does.
Yeah, and you're right. About if we went half an hour earlier, that means obviously the summer sunset would be 9 o'clock. The summer sunrise would be 5:10 in the morning, which was really early. But that's really, of the four, that's really the only kind of oddity. And to be honest, here in Dunedin, most people have blackout blinds, or certainly thermal blinds anyway, because of the temperature through the winter anyway. So that would be the only downside, would be a 10 past 5 a.m. sunrise. But compared to the other option, which would be a 9:20 a.m. sunrise in winter going the other way, I think that would be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, it's funny. Our sort of obsession with time and the established time zones is so archaic in a way. It's so based on agricultural processes from a couple of hundred years ago, and it's not really the way the world works these days. Time is flexible. Anyone who's got a clock in their car knows that.